Alright guys, welcome back into this game. A loud, husky, unmistakable voice called out to me from the corner of the bar. Sure enough, there was Randall sitting at a table and raising his glass to greet me. Randall, get over here already. Following his bark demand, I approached Randall's table, peering curiously into his glass. The liquid looked like blood, but I caught the scent of alcohol too. Oh yeah, it's from a drunk human. The only way most of us can keep it down. Randall offered an explanation after noticing my gaze, chuckling softly. What, are they raising humans as cattle or something? Randall gave me a "what the hell are you smoking" sort of look, shaking his head. Some vampires have companions, you know. Lovers, blood pets, regular jacks, and Jills, addicted to the fitting high, whatever. As far as I know, he only gets the bar's blood from those willing donors. That's what the little bitch says, anyway. With a faint snort, he reached forward to pull out my chair, motioning me to sit. I settled down onto the old, brittle stool, which let out a faint squeak of protest. Anyway, Spike or regular blood. Not everyone likes to get buzzed, so I won't judge you if you take it easy. Spike. Oh, alright, coming right up. He hopped up his seat and strode towards the bar, his huge boots thudding across the tile. While I waited for Randall to come back, I glanced over this side of the table, where a few napkins were scattered around. He had been drawing on the napkins, pretty skilled drawings too. But all of his sketches were dark, even disturbing, blending the grotesque and the beautiful. I leaned in closer to make out the various figures, all of them drawn with thick, intense lines. There was a corpse-like creature with giant insectoid wings, an androgynous human in the nude, with hair streaming down their bony shoulders, and a gory crucified figure staring emptily into space, his jaw messily ripped off. His talent took me aback. I hadn't really expected Randall to draw this kind of intricate, unsettling work. Hey, get back on your own side of the table, kid. Randall approached with two glasses in hand, raising a playfully accusing brow at me. Had to do something to pass the time while I waited for you. You're fashionable, late fuckers. Why I always carry a pen around. He sat down, one glass in front of me, downing a gulp from his own, and slipped back into his seat. Some of your sketch are a little messed up. Yeah, I know. He shrugged, apparently not too surprised or offended by my comment. It's just what I like to draw. Can't help what comes to my own mind. If it bothers you, no one's forcing you to look at it. Randall took the napkins and crumbled them into a ball, stuffing it into his back pocket. I could tell he didn't really want to discuss them any further. Maybe it was embarrassing for him, considering his image and reputation. Now, how about a toast to the legendary partnership of a starry-eyed newbie and her handsome mentor. What are you calling starry-eyed and handsome for that matter? I think you heard me just fine, and if you're trying to bruise my ego, it's not gonna work. Now stop acting cute and clink your goddamn glass with mine so I can drink. He wiggled his raised glass at me, then jerked his chin towards my own. I think your ego deserves a few bruises. Cheers. After I toasted Randall, I curiously tasted the dark liquid inside my glass. The rich, intoxicating taste of blood mingled with the telltale burned-up alcohol. It was interesting, to say the least. Always pack a punch. Good stuff. With a satisfied grunt, Randall set his glass back down on the table. Oh yeah, before I forget me, Dory. Last time we talked, you said you would trade some dirt on Queen Bitch. in exchange for my sagely wisdom, didn't you? Guess it's too soon for you to know anything though. She probably just has you running around to pick her dry cleaning right now. I mean, if you call dead body dry cleaning, then yes. A dead body, huh? What? Not that strange, I think, to find in this city. Unless there was something else weird about it. My mind flashed back to the twisted scene I had found in the sewers. This figure corpse in the strange accompanying note. Calling it weird was something of understatement. It was one of Shari's agents, and she looked like the victims of a serial killer. A serial killer going after vampires? Never heard of something like that before. Wonder who could be behind it. He scratched absent-mindedly at his beard, frowning a little. Well, thanks for telling me anyway. I doubt she'll make you do any stuff related to the war anytime soon. Especially not while she knows you and I are together. I mean, spending time together, mentorship, and shit. Yeah, you're probably right. I sure am. Not the first time I have seen all this play out. Randall glanced down into his glass, rattling the ice cubes around in a circle. A small, thoughtful crease appeared on his forehead as if he were considering something carefully. Alright, let's talk about you, kid. With a patient sigh, he returned his gaze up to mine, tilting his head a little to the side. I know it might seem like a nice gig, getting a fancy hotel room in exchange for doing Queen's bitch errands, but the truth is, you're not gonna learn jack shit about yourself like that. I was mulling things over after you left the other night and, well, I think you should spend some more time with me and the clan, you know? I don't really do mentoring in the traditional sense, but if you hang around us long enough, I know you'll learn a lot of things. Are your clanmates alright with that? They are sure. I explained to them that you were a cool girl, and I think they're coming around to it. It's not they're not bad types or anything, they just take a while to warm up to folks in situations like yours. For a few seconds, his eyes darted down to his glass, lingering there briefly before returning upward. I'm not saying you want to be a part of our family, clan, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I know it's not for everyone, but you can pick up a lot of wisdom from being around people who are different from you, listening to what they have to say, even if you don't always like or agree with it. And hey, when we're not getting into trouble, we have some pretty killer parties. Let me tell you, a killer party when you're already fucking dead? Goddamn legendary. I'm not so much into parties, but I would like to spend more time with you guys. There you go, not everyone sticks around for the parties either. We have some folks who come and go, but they stick with us when shit goes down. I hope you end up being one of them. Randall beamed at me, his eyes shining affectionately. But after a few moments, the smile in his face grew more wistful. He traced a finger along the groups in our table, throwing a brief glance out the window before meeting my gaze again. Don't you think this is all funny as Midori, kind of pathetic too? What do you mean? I'm talking about us. Sitting here, talking over drinks, trying to hold on to our humanity by copying what we did in life. But a vampire drinking out of a glass is like a lion eating a hamburger. I see what you mean, it's pretty silly to be honest. Right, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, a beast pretending it's civilized, a wild creature should be hunting its own food, accepting what it is, not acting all human. I'm not saying we should gore people in the streets, but it's pointless to act like something we're not, following rules that keep us from being what we are. You know what I mean? He glanced sharply at me, not bothering to hide the curiosity in his eyes. I'm not sure yet, I see wisdom in both points of view, honestly. Interesting. Nothing wrong with that, I guess, for now anyway. But sooner or later, you're gonna have to make up your mind once you manage to get away from Shari's. He paused, then lifting up his glass to drain the rest of its contents. When it was empty, Randall clanged it down on the table and leaned forward, lowering his voice a little. Hey, listen, kid. Just between you and me, I gotta say I appreciate how honest you are. It's a real breath of fresh air in between all the fucking politics. Chuckling faintly, he glanced down to his empty glass, then back up to my face. Now, I couldn't care less what house you came from. Because you know you're... Well, you're... Midori. You came by, you should have said something sooner. Oh, great. As soon as a delighted voice rang out the bar, Randall rolled his eyes so hard that I only saw their eyes for a second. The source of his annoyance showed up soon after, smiling warmly down at me. I'm sorry, I didn't see you come in, otherwise I would have made sure you got special treatment. Ah, you brought a friend. As if he had only just noticed Randall. He tilted his head towards the other man curiously. Mavvar, I forget sometimes how quickly you bond together. You two know each other, huh? A little. We talk now and then, back before the war caused this awful divide. Yeah, sure, we were just fast fucking friends. Randall's dismissive response made he glance at him, a wistful sigh leaking from his lips. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'll let the two of you get back to your talk, but Midori, anytime you'd like to come by, I'm always here to listen. Thanks, Sid. I'll see you around. He brightened up a little at my friendly reply, his eyes shining at me. Stay safe, Midori. I hope I see you again soon. After glancing briefly between Randall and me, he turned and disappeared around the corner, probably heading to check on another customer. Randall stared after him, narrowing his eyes. I can feel the love in the air. Yeah, wedding's in December. I'll let you figure out who's gonna be wearing the dress. He snorted, a crude smirk curling on his lips. Now, what was I saying before he stuck his powder nose in? Ah, shit, whatever. Let's get drunk and swap stores. Hey, another round over here. I'm expecting some crazy stories out of you, so don't disappoint me. Ah, just you wait, kid. As the night wore on, I found myself nearly forgetting what I had become and where I was. Laughing at Randall's ridiculous adventures over a drink, relaxing in a bar, enjoying the quiet atmosphere. It almost felt like I was still alive, having a normal night out. I couldn't forget his comment about vampires pointlessly acting like humans, but I had to wonder if he really felt that way. Sure, he occasionally sneered out charade and the twisted humor of it all. When I heard his deep laugh and saw his relaxed grin, though, it made me think maybe a part of him still wanted to be human. Finally, when the sunrise started to loom closer, we emptied our glasses and head back onto the street. There were still a few late-night wanderers roaming around, but it was much quieter than before. There was a brief, slightly awkward pause as we stood on the sidewalk, our comfortable, fast, normal atmosphere fading into the night. You're an interesting guy, Randall. I would like to learn more about you. I'll right back at you. It's nice talking to someone who listens and thinks things over, which seems to be pretty rare nowadays. He threw off, gazing down at me with a slight tilt of his head, as if considering something. You're staying at Hollywood Heights, right? How about I walk you there? Make sure you get in safe. Wouldn't you be attacked if you get close? It's gonna be base, isn't it? Yeah, I thought about that. Clasping his hands behind his head, Randall started walking towards the hotel, slowing his pace until I caught up to his side. I can't go into the actual place with you since Queen Bitch would not be happy to see me around. Unless I was offering to work for her, that is. Allah is what she says, slave is what she means. His lips pulled back into a distasteful grimace. Why do you hate her that so much exactly? Kid, I really don't want to spend the whole night ranting about it. Showers, she gets her power from the little doormats who are happy enough to be abused and told what to do, as long as they don't have to think. His voice steadily fell from its normal loud, confident pitch to a low monotone. I couldn't tell if he was hiding his anger, sinking into gloominess, or something else entirely. I guess I'll see for myself, sooner or later. So ended our conversation, and we continued our walk in silence. The sound of distant sirens, muffled traffic, and even our own footsteps became deafening. I wasn't used to Randall being so quiet. He seemed to be brooding over our conversation, but his irritation didn't make him move away. In fact, he stayed close to my side, a protective half step or so behind me. By the time we arrived at the hotel, however, his dark mood had started to subside. Would have been happy if I never had to see this place again. With his eyes roaming up to the bombastic Hollywood Heights sign, Randall let out a grunt of distaste. Whatever. Hey, more importantly, thanks for coming out with me tonight, Midori. Why don't you come over to the beach again this week? Hang out with me in the group. I'll give you my number. Though if you call from the hotel, watch what you say. Phone's probably tapped. You should just kidnap him and save us both the hassle. I'd love to. Is it? I don't know what this means. Bring your own? Oh, fuck off. Randall let out one of his deep, husky laughs, the usual playfulness returning to his voice. Then pulling out a pen from his pocket, he tore the corner of a napkin he had stuffed in there earlier and scribbled out a phone number. Yeah, give me a call whenever you need me, and hell, even if you don't. So, all the time, got it? Oh boy, I guess I'll be parked by the phone for a while. Alright, go on, get inside, kid. I'll be seeing you around soon. Wave at him. He waved back at me, wearing a phone smirk. I headed for the hotel entrance and was about to step into the revolving doors when I threw one last glance over my shoulder. Randall had turned away, but someone was approaching him. A man in a slick suit, Charles Asian. Randall stood stock still, staring at the other man, stiffening like an animal about to fight for its territory. Hide and listen. Curiosity slapped me across the face, and I had to respond to it. Slipping behind the wall, I peered around the corner at the two men straining my ears. What the hell do you want? Merely to remind you of Mr. Locke's offer. Please, calm down. Thanks to my unnaturally sharp sense, I caught every word clearly. Tell Mr. Locke she can find some other limp-dick piece of shit to drag around on her leash. There's no need for that kind of behavior, Mr. Randall. You are aware, I'm sure, of the control she has over Midori's life and success. Perhaps you should consider our alliance more carefully. I'm sure Miss Locke, as well as Midori herself, would appreciate it. And if you really have your fellow's best interests at heart, it'll be wise to think things over, wouldn't it? There was an extended pause, and for a time I couldn't hear anything at all. With a loud grunt of disgust, Randall turned to his heel, kicking the asphalt as he stalked away. The ex-career vampire watched him for a short time, but before long left to enter the hotel. I had clearly been relevant to that conversation. Was Charles trying to use me as a bargaining chip? Whatever the case was, it gave me an uneasy feeling. I waited a few minutes just to be safe and slipped inside the hotel. Luckily, the escalator from before was nowhere to be seen. By the time I reached my room, I felt exhausted, like I had run 4 marathons in an hour. Maybe the hint of sunlight creeping up on the horizon was already draining my energy. I settled down in the darkness to reflect on the last important thoughts drifting through my mind. Randall, Charis, and the conflict that was slowly brewing under the surface. There wasn't much I could do now, but having a mentor in the opposing faction probably meant trouble in the future. Still, I decided to take Randall up on his offer and visit him in the next few days. After a long talk tonight, I felt like I definitely had a crush on him. It would make a good friend. I mean, if I'm a girl, then this should be the option. But here I am, the player who's talking to you right now. I'm a guy, and I'm a straight middle. You'd make a good friend. I like Randall a lot, and he seemed like the type who would always have my back. There was no denying he would be a good ally, but I also had the feeling there was more to him than just the rough rocker rebel exterior. At last, I let my eyes drift close. If I play my cards right, then maybe during my next meeting with Randall, I could catch another glimpse of whatever was lurking behind his flippant smile. After a difficult struggle, I managed to raise my heavy eyelids. The first thing I felt was hunger stirring in my gut, gnawing me awake. Eventually, I rolled out of bed, fighting a sluggish feeling. Tonight, I had to take care of that job for Charis, but I needed to feed first. That's a brain from a human this time. I quickly pulled on my clothes, hurrying outside. Once I left the hotel, I immediately caught the scent of a lone human in the side street nearby, a perfect target. Too absorbed in his touch, the man didn't even notice me until I had bitten him from behind. I'd run just enough to save myself, leaving him standing in a pleasant daze. By the time I returned to the street, Charis' car was there, patiently waiting for me. I climbed to the backseat, but as usual, the silent driver didn't acknowledge me. As soon as I closed the door, he took off towards Santa Monica, weaving through the hectic evening traffic. My mission seemed pretty straightforward, unlike the other night's sewer crawl. Once I found the humans, I'd just have to scare or coax them away. By any means necessary, Charis has said. After we pulled up by the pier, I hopped out of the car and made my way down to the beach, scanning the dunes for any models with cameras. Sure enough, I didn't have to search for very long. Marching down the shoreline was a group of young men hauling TV equipment, eagerly shouting and pointing at various innocent beach-goers. Charis was right, the beach house was close by. If they kept going, they might run into Randall's crew, which could end in either unwanted publicity or the model's deaths. After I observed the men for a short while, I decided the best way to deal with them would be to... "Oh my god, it's you!" Suddenly, a throat voice cried from behind me. I turned to see a young man rushing forward through the sand. An uncomfortably familiar young man. I can't believe it. I thought I'd never see you again. But here you are, here I am, just like it's destiny or something. Wow. It was the same model I had fed on my second night. Sorry, you're mistaking me for someone else. Haha, no way. There's no way I could mistake you for anyone else. There's this power around you, some kind of wild, awesome energy. Man, it sounds brilliant when I try to put it into words, huh? This didn't make any sense. Han and Charis said that humans forgot everything leading up to the Bible. But this human scent wasn't like any other I had smelled. It was oddly sweet, different from the salty sea air or the stench of unwashed models nearby. Was it special somehow? Oh, I should probably introduce myself, huh? My name is David. I work with this photo crew, part of a tabloid my dad owns, haha. He gestured towards the group in the distance, looking slightly embarrassed. I convinced them to come out here at night to look for you, Ashley. Get the hell out of here before something bad happens. Huh? David blinked at me, looking startled by my sharp reply. Hey, listen, you don't have to worry about me. The other night, I woke up in the dark and it was so warm. I thought I was dead. I didn't know what had happened to me. But then it all flooded back. It was so good to me. The way you took me somewhere safe and covered me up. It's why I trembled with awe and adoration. I don't really understand what you did to me, but after that night, I can't stop thinking about you. How amazing it all was. There was a certain dazed reminiscence in his voice and eyes. He looked at me like I was his hero, a rock star or a movie star, someone larger than life. You said you want me to do it again. Yes, I want it more than anything. Maybe it was love at first sight, or maybe it was something more. I don't care, none of that matters. All I know is that I need to be with you. I need you to take what you want from me again, or else. I don't know, I might go crazy. It was so full of passion, almost too innocent to be real, like a snowflake before it lands on the dirt. I could barely believe it, but he really did seem completely in love with me. Or if not with me, then with the sensation I had given him. Okay, I think I'm just going to save the game here. This might be troublesome. And we have the rules of not taking human in, so I have to think about this carefully. I can't, David. I'm sorry, it's too dangerous for you. Please. Please don't send me away. Panic flickered in his eyes. I can't take care of myself, and I promise I'll make everything worth it. Please. No, you should go home and pretend this never happened. Well, you know what? Let's fuck the rules a little bit and see what happened. Yes, I'm sure I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I could smell his excitement, see his pupils dilating, and hear the quickening of his heartbeat. It was almost painfully honest, the way his body was so expressive. He probably couldn't lie even if he wanted to. Then please tell me, what should I call you? Call me Mistress. Yes, Mistress. He gave an eager nod, then fell silent, staring at me expectantly. Alright, tell your crew to leave and we'll head back together. You got it? I let them know I won't be coming around for a while. I watched David as he turned to hurry over towards his holy ring group, waving them down. When I strained my hearing, I couldn't make out his eager, love-struck babbling about me, which resulted in a lot of harm. And a few mutterings of, "Dude, what are you on?" But he apparently convinced them to leave because they decided to head back the way they came, their camera lights finally blinking out. And so our secret as vampires survive another day. With David safely in tow, I returned to the hotel. The clock looked extremely uncomfortable when he noticed my new companion. He informed me that, due to house standards, David would have to stay in an adjoining room. David didn't seem ready to leave my side just yet though, so I let him follow me into the hotel meeting room. Unlike the other night, Charis was already sitting there. She was on the phone with someone though, and she held up a finger to keep me quiet. Yes, I arranged it. No, it won't be here at the Hollywood Heights. What? No human baggage, thank you. I'm sure he can look after himself for a few days. Yes, no, I really don't. Very well. Goodbye. She forcefully clamped down the receiver, letting out a disgruntled sigh. The idiot can't even deal with his own carving, as if my hands aren't full enough right now either. Everyone always needs something without fail. Rising to her feet, Charis strode over towards me, clearing her throat deliberately. Well, since you're back, Medora, I assume you took care of the problem. Hopefully no future models will. She drove off. Her eyes focused sharply on David, practically drilling holes into his skull. He shrunk back behind me as if hoping I'd serve as a barrier between him and Charles' date stare. I have taken in a human 2 feet from. I hope you don't mind. Yes, I can see that. With a heavy, disgruntled sigh, Charles shook her head, though she seemed more puzzled than annoyed. That's a rather bizarre coincidence. It would seem you have found yourself a Strix. She paused, peering at David over her glass for a few moments before clarifying further. Strikes, the plural, are rare models with particularly appealing blood. Many of them can retain memories of being fed upon, unlike normal humans, and some of them may even remain conscious during it. But they also tend to have rather extreme reactions to being turned, so please deal with him carefully. Sucking him dry would just be counterproductive, wouldn't it? Charles forced a flicker of a smile, although it ended up as more of a sneer. Just so you're aware, I do not advocate taking life in blood paths. Unless they are proclaimed dead or have no living relations or friends, that can often result in various issues sprouting up. But for the duration of your employment, I will permit it. David won't cause any problems, right, David? Of course not. I should very much hope not. Just make sure you handle the logistics. She flicked her hand as if to dismiss the subject, finally shifting her needle-like stare away from David, who let out a quiet exhale of relief. He obviously had no idea what was going on, and I could feel him clutching the back of my jacket, looking for some kind of moral support. As I was saying, I assume you took care of the problem on the beach. It may have seemed like a trivial task, but in the encroaching digital age, hiding our presence from models is growing increasingly difficult. Someone is always watching. Now, your next job involves further diplomacy, and fortunately for you, no sewers. As always, she coaxed on to my next duties in her perpetually impatient tone. However, it does involve returning to a place that may be all too be familiar. The abattoir, the same club where your sire visited you. Good, maybe I'll get a chance to find the guy who turned me. I don't think he'll be foolish enough to linger there, but if you do ever find him, please bring him back in one piece so I might gain a better understanding of his inner thoughts. But to return to what I was saying, the abattoir sees many rich and powerful clientele, both human and vampire, each looking to fulfill their own depraved desires. I'm sure you know how clubs are, with inhibitions lower and desires heightened. Information is always bound to flow freely. Because the abattoir is neutral ground, just like how heat spa, all manner of vampires are frequent visitors. Thus, it is very important we learn about anything they might let slip. Doesn't that defeat the whole point of a neutral ground? If all rules were perfectly obeyed in the world, then there would inevitably be far more bloodshed and drawn-out conflict. Besides, in this case, neutral simply means an agreement not to fight openly. All need you to do is convince one of the club's managers, Alucia's, to deliver regular reports to us. I heard she was a partner, the blood pad of Mavvar, so she is already aware of our political situation. What if she's already delivering reports of the Mavvar? Then remind her that the discovery are better patrons, and we will remember who aided us and who stood against us when the war is over. However, keep in mind that Lucia is a very willful woman. She is highly capable for a model and very knowledgeable for our unique abilities. I doubt simple force will be effective, and the last thing we want is for her to end up working against us. So please don't try and bat her around. With a deep inhale, Charis threw herself up slightly, glancing towards the war club. It was a not so subtle hint that our meeting was about to end. I'd like you to deliver your report in the next few days, Midori. Until then, Her eyes briefly grazed over David, who I could feel trembling behind him. Do stay out of unnecessary trouble. Leaving me with those pointed words, she made a swift exit. That's your boss, I guess. David finally managed to break his silence after Charles left, shuffling out of my protective shadow. She's terrifying. Is it hard to walk with her? She's not that bad, just a little stiff. Ah well, I'll take your word for it, mistress. He gazed at me rapturously. In his eyes, it seems like I could do no wrong. So what are you going to do now? David's questions made me stop and consider for a moment. Even though my task that night was over, there was still plenty of time until sunrise. Marcus' early advice resurfaced in mind. Maybe now was a good time to start scoping out the other vampires in LA. Go explore then. Before I could go, I had to make sure David was safely deposited in the hotel. He was incredibly reluctant to leave my side, but once I promised I'd see him again before long, he finally agreed to stay in his room. I slipped out of the hotel into the cool night air. There was a few places I could visit tonight. Visit the Blood and Rose, visit the Saturnalia, or you can do this. The Saturnalia is where we're going to meet up with, what was his name again? The long-haired dude? Or we can go with the path to Randall, which is the beach house. The Blood and Rose is where they're going to meet up with Pete, right? Yeah, let's go to the beach house. I had my driver take me back to the beach, deciding to stop by Randall's place. Retracing my steps from the other night, I found it again easily, though the strong scent of Mavvar was enough of a trail on its own. The door was already unlocked, so I let myself in. Inside, a diverse blend of vampires filled the open space, chatting and laughing over drinks. I didn't see Randall anywhere, but I just spot Jack looking off by himself. Talk to Jack. I wandered over to Jack, whose stocky figure stood silent near the doorway. His head was lower, and I watched him idly fiddle with his jacket zipper for a solid minute before he finally noticed me. Oh hey, Midori. I blinked a little, shrinking back a step out of reflex. I wanted to say sorry again for the garage. It's really not a big deal, don't worry about it. Oof, glad you're not pissed off on it. I'm new as hell and I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing, so just thought the best thing to do was, throw my weight around and act tough. He sank back a little more into his hooded shadows, clearing his throat. I'm probably the newest member in the coven besides you. Been under a year, I think. The guy who told me was my dealer, actually, not one of Randall's clan, just a loner. Yeah, he had a real strong hatred for humanity, that guy. Some sold drugs to try and get people to fuck themselves up, not for the money. I only bought part from him, and I guess me not failing for his crack deals pissed him off. Because one night, when he was real mad about something I said, he grabbed me and turned me right there. You're speaking about him in the past tense. Yeah, good catch. He got too bossy one night and wandered pretty far into Iscariot territory. And even though he wasn't with Randall, most people just figure he was. So a couple of patrolling Iscariot caught up with him, thought he was a spy, and they took his heart out. At least, that's what I heard, anyway. I wonder what he was doing up in Iscariot territory. Yeah, I don't know, probably trying to find more people to sell shit. Jack shook his head, letting out a long, glum sigh. Anyway, I should get going. I'm heading out to get some info on an Iscariot base. So watch your ass out there and don't do anything Randall wouldn't do. New catchphrase. Just made that one up. Hey, yeah, okay, bye. His jaw clenching in a land of embarrassment and anxiety. Jack, hurry outside, throwing a brief glance back at me. Mingle with the other Mavvar. I began drifting between the cluster of Mavvar, looking for a conversation to step into. Nobody seemed to know what to make of me, and most of the looks I got were confused, curious, or downright suspicious. For my first impressions of them, I decided to act. Cool and collected, neutral and curious. I'm gonna go with this one. When the Mavvar inevitably started asking me questions, I gave them calm, confident answers, giving off the impression that I was in control of my circumstance. As the night went on, none of them really thought or became affable, although I got some still laughs and the occasional smile thrown my way. By the time I had spoken with most of the vampires who seemed willing to chat, I felt like I knew the clan a little better. They were about as diverse a group as any I have ever seen, and beyond their shared house, there was one thing that united them: their respect for Randall. All of the Mavvar obviously admired him, and I heard stories about how he had helped and so brothers or inspired somebody to reach their evil boss and become a free spirit. Some of the tales seemed too heroic and exaggerated to be true, but the Mavvar obviously believed them. And it seemed like that belief gave them all confidence. Slipping out of the beach house, I made my way back across the sand. Visit Saturnalia. Oh, so we can go anywhere we want. Deciding to pay Saturnalia a visit, I hopped into a taxi to drive downtown. A warm, nostalgic atmosphere welcomed me back inside the bar. Oh, so the Saturnalia is a bar, not the other thing. I glanced around at the nice patrons. I noticed two interesting groups standing in different spots. A cluster of younger-looking vampires by the bar, giggling restlessly, shifting their seats. And some reserved, well-dressed scout murmuring in a quiet corner, looking like they didn't want to be disturbed. Heat was there too, lingering quietly behind the bar as he wiped out a glass. Let's go talk to Heat. I stepped up to the bar, waiting to catch Heat's attention. He stayed lost in thought for a short while longer, his glazed eyes staring off at nowhere in particular. But soon enough, our gaze finally met. Almost instantly, Heat broke into a smile, putting down the glass and stepping towards me. Midori, you came by alone this time. That makes things a little more comfortable, I think. Hi, just thought I would stop in. And it makes me so happy that you did. I was a little worried about you, actually. I'm sure you're still adapting to our world, trying to understand all these confusing people and parts. No matter how strong you are, it's hard not to feel overwhelmed sometimes. So if there's anything you want to ask me, Midori, please do. I have some questions about you. What are your house powers like? Well, I have a little skill in glamour, the scar ability to take on someone else's appearance. But I've never been able to use hypnosis. Maybe it's because I'm still young, or I just don't have the talent for it. He let a small, self-deprecating chuckle. Like you, I didn't have a mentor when I was turned. Everything I've learned, I had to teach myself mostly. Glamour came to me quickly, but every time I use it, I get this strange feeling afterwards, so I don't practice it often. That's all there is. I don't think of my other powers very much. I prefer never to use them. He rubbed my finger along his cheek, gently shaking his head. Have you ever turned another vampire? Hate quickly shook his head, looking a little distressed at the very thought. No, never. I don't ever want to either. Having to take somebody's life and then pulling them into our world forever, I just couldn't. A small shudder ran through him. What helps you find comfort as a vampire? Other people, being around other people, I think, both humans and vampires. Seeing humans still living their happy lives here, that makes me feel warm. And seeing the people in our society are versions of normal living out theirs. I just don't like being alone for too long. It makes me start to wonder what I really am, what we really are. But being around others makes me feel less different, calmer, I think. That's probably why I still run this bar. Is there a meaning behind your necklace? Yes, I used to be religious. I think I still am. It helps remind me that I'm not alone. His fingers drifted up to the cross, lightly tracing along the metal with a reverent touch. This necklace was a Christmas gift from my mother. I have always treasured it, but it doesn't have any meaning beyond that. I'm sorry if the story isn't as exciting as you hope. He let out a faint laugh, his hand shifting back to his scarf. How do you normally feed? I drink from glasses as much as I can, but sometimes there are willing donors who come around. I just don't like to feed from them very often. It feels so inhuman. I know what you mean, and I feel similarly. Roy, I shouldn't be surprised you have such a sweet heart. Thank you, Midori. It makes me happy knowing I'm not alone. About something else. Let's talk about someone else. You and Brendo. He hates me. The only reason he ever comes into the bar is to spend time with other Mavvar. And when he doesn't ignore me, he's giving me disgusted looks. We used to deal with each other a little better, but over time we grew further and further apart. The stronger Brendo got, the more he seemed to hate me. I don't know if it's because of the war or because we came to understand each other's nature more. We are just total opposites. Do you know anything about his past? Only that he grew up somewhere near the Baker's Field and he worked in Hollywood before he was turned. That's what he says, at least, but no one here knew him until he became a vampire. I don't think he likes to talk about it very much. What's your relationship with Marcus? Ah, there we go. The other guy name is Marcus. We have never really gotten along, Marcus and me. His philosophy is just so dark and cynical. I'm sure you have always seen it for yourself. He and I aren't enemies, but I know he doesn't like me, and that makes it very uncomfortable for me to be around him. Is there a reason why he doesn't like you? Do you know how old he is? I really don't know, I'm sorry. I'm not close to him, but maybe Randall or Charles could answer that for you. They know him much better than I do. He attempted to put on a smile, but it turned out more like a grimace. What do you think of Charles? She's a very strong woman, one of the strongest I have ever met. His response was a little slow, words more cautious than normal. But sometimes I think her strength, the way she's so determined to make a safe, lawful society for us, is her biggest weakness. She focuses on the whole instead of the parts, the society instead of the individual people inside of it. The good of the many over the few, so she doesn't let herself get attached to people easily, or tries not to. Do you like working for her? I like working for a good cause. Every job can be frustrating at times. I tell myself that a lot these days. Hey, let's let out a short laugh about something else. That's all for now, I think. So soon, No, but really thank you for coming to talk with me. Stay safe, Midori. Reaching to pull out a cigarette, he slowly turned away. Approach the younger group. Curious, I start wandering towards the young group of vampires nearby. As I got closer, I realized they were whispering, pointing at a man further down in the bar. He was huddled off by himself, shifting uncomfortably as he nursed his drink. Hey, are you Midori? One of them vampires suddenly reached out to tap my arm, offering me a hopeful grin. Could you introduce us, please? She nodded towards the man who was slowly shrinking further away. Yeah, could you please? We're from San Fran, but we have heard so much about you. And we know you're friends. We did our research. Two other vampires chimed in eagerly. I have never seen him before in my life. Why are you acting like you don't know? I think she's just testing us or something. Come on, let's go over. The vampire who had tapped my arm now started to pull me impatiently towards the man. Who is this guy again? When we stepped up beside him, the man reluctantly turned to face me. Please, I think there has been a... Oh my god, he's talking to us. Marcus is talking to us. I think I'm gonna faint. The moment he opened his mouth, two of the vampires let out excited squeals. Yes, I am a Marcus, but it's spelled with a C, not a... Can I have your autograph, please? How do you know Midori? Did you sigh her? Actually, we don't even... Is Midori the only one who came out? Your eyes exterior? Why do you keep pretending you're not Marcus? We know who you are. Before I knew it, we were surrounded by the chattering group. They seemed completely convinced that this man Marcus was actually Marcus. Marcus threw me a plaintive look, but willing, please help me with his eyes. Listen everyone, I know Marcus, and this man isn't Marcus. Oh man, we know what you guys are up to. Marcus always pulls tricks on people. Yeah, you're not fooling us, but nice try. Hey, don't let him slip away. Their attention's shifting away from me. The Marcus flame club swarmed Marcus like flies, clearly convinced he was the real deal. They passed him with a constant stream of questions, asking about every his political views to whether he thought the Beatles' White Album was better than Abbey Road. The quiet fumbling replies he gave were very un-Marcus-like, but none of the vampires seemed to notice or care. Some of them shoved things into his hand to autograph, where he reluctantly etched an M followed by an ambiguous squiggle, judging from Marcus' reactions. Tonight wasn't the first time this kind of thing had happened, and from the defeated look on his face, I figured it probably wouldn't be the last. Eventually, the group started tricking off, wandering back down the bar. They were apparently satisfied with catching a glimpse of Marcus in the Y, and I heard snippets of their delighted gushing as they walked away. Like a wilted plant, Marcus drooped back against the bar, visibly exhausted. You know, Los Angeles is a really charming place. I like it here, the atmosphere is fantastic. But as my luck would have it, I also share a name and house with the most infamous vampire in the city. He let out a resigned sigh, rubbing two fingers against his temple. It was so nice to have peaceful time at bars, enjoying my night like any other average Joe. Is that such an impossible dream? Maybe I should try going by Mark instead. After mumbling wistfully to himself for a few moments, Marcus glanced back to me, clearing his throat. Oh well, thanks for trying to clear things up anyway. I'll let my friends know you're not just out to make people's life more difficult. Have you ever met the real Marcus? No, never once in my life, which makes it worse somehow. He grumbled under his breath, but in the passive way of someone who wasn't up to fighting fate. From what I know, the real Marcus likes to pull pranks a lot, so every time I say I'm not Marcus, they just think I'm playing around. It's usually not that bad, but just a little inconvenient. But then, other times, with a quiet flustercuff, Marcus stared very intently into his glass. You know the kind of shop Marcus runs, right? Well, sometimes his fans decide to give me gifts that match the star's aesthetic. I can deal with this signing the occasional t-shirt. When somebody shoves a cat tail attached to a plug into my hands at the drugstore, things have gone a little too far. Maybe you could try and clear things up with the real Marcus. I've tried, but I can't get in contact with him. And you know, a part of me can't shake the suspicion that's actually helping spread the fake identity. As Marcus shares lamentations with me, I spot two Mavvar coming from the bathroom and hall nearby. Sorry. The next moment they froze, staring at us intently. Hey, is that? Holy crap! Is that Marcus? A gasp rings through the air. Lord have mercy. Like he had been shot from a cannon, Marcus turned and bolted for the exit, leaving his half-finished glass of blood behind. One of the Mavvar ran after him, giggling delightedly. And just like that, I was left alone in the bar once more. Now let's get out of here. There's nothing left for us to do. So let's get out. I left the bar's quiet ambience, returning to the street. When I glanced towards the sky, I realized sunrise was on its way. So I decided to head back to my hotel room. So you have enough time to go to 2 locations. But that's about it. It had been an interesting evening, though it was hard to believe my 6th night as a vampire was already ending. Yet here I was, steadily adapting to the new world around me, changing in ways I couldn't yet understand. I returned to my room feeling at least somewhat satisfied. But as I flicked off the light, settling into the cozy darkness of sleep, somewhere in my mind an uneasiness began to shift. The cool ocean breeze ran through my hair, drifting across my face. I was on my way to Randall's beach house to meet him in his clan, taking him up on his earlier invitation. I had given him a call before I left, so he knew I was on my way. As I approached the house, I noticed a huge parade of footprints in the sand. They led to and from Randall's place by the look of it. Was his number of followers growing? I hadn't seen this many last time. Before I even stepped onto the porch, I could hear the loud chatter and laughter of a large group looking through the windows. The Randall must have heard my knock because the door swung open a few seconds later. Well, look who's here. My favorite little fireball. What kind of nickname is that? Oh, don't worry, I can't think of something worse. Come on, get inside, I've been waiting for you. Whew. I followed Randall into the house, which was about as packed as it sounded from outside. The loud din of conversation quieted down a little as Randall and I approached, and suddenly everyone's gaze flicked onto me. Hey, is that Midori? Yeah, it looks like her. I didn't see as many of the aggressive glances I had caught in my first visit, but most of them watched me with thinly veiled suspicion. Judging from the way their eyes split between Randall and me, his presence was the only thing stopping them from being outright hostile. Why did you bring her here, Randall? We can tell her all the good shit on Queen Bitch. Is that what you want? No, that's not why she came. She is here because, well, Midori, why don't you tell them? I'm not gonna put words in your mouth. Because I wanted to. Huh. I mean, doing what you want is really cool, I guess. And if Randall invited you, I totally get why you would want to. Laughter and playful murmurs sprang up among the groups, easing the uncomfortable atmosphere a little. But I still got the distinct impression that no one there trusted me. Maybe they were playing nice for Randall's sake. Come on, newbie, I want to talk to you. Placing one hand on my shoulder, Randall pulled me gently away from the center of the room. No one made any aggressive comment towards me, though I noticed a few wary glances occasionally thrown my way. Still, as we passed by, most of the attention seemed to be focused on Randall. Well, third time's the charm, right? Maybe next time you visit, I'll hand out some booze first. When we came to I stopped by the wall. Randall let out a playful sigh, but I could tell he felt a little awkward about the situation. I know they're not taking you in with open arms, but you can't really expect them to. Even if you're a Mavvar like the rest of us, some people think you're a spy or a traitor to the house. You think they will always be like this to me? I don't know, kid. I wish I could tell you. Maybe once the world blows over, everyone will open their eyes and see we're all one big damn family, but it's a long shot. He let out a long, unusually weary sigh. Don't let that keep you away from us, though, okay? You shouldn't just spend time with folks who are your fucking clones or who agree with everything you say and think. I'm not saying your place is here, but I don't know if it's back at Hollywood Heights with sharks in the shitters. I just want you to keep an open mind. That's fair. I do my best to stay open. That's what I like to hear. I think you're... Hey, Randall, someone's at the phone for you. A guy on the other side of the room called out to us, waving his arm to get Randall's attention. Oh shit, he said, Marcus. Did my special order of extra large magnums come in? The guns, I mean. One sec, Midori, don't miss me too much. He flashed me a faint grin, then ducked through the throng of vampires, weaving his way towards the phone. While I was left a little uncomfortably alone, like the girl who lost her only friend at the party, I observed the other Mavvar in the conversation. They sound surprisingly normal. Relationships, sports, politics, the occasional comment about last night's meal. Of course, whenever a Shars or the Iskar came up, their voices rose passionately, and various spiteful expletives came up. It was as if their shared struggle tied them together, and their shared hate was just a product of that. Or maybe vice versa. As I listened to the flow of chatter, I felt a sudden tap on my shoulder. Hey Midori. I turned to see Jack standing next to me, slouching in his hoodie and fiddling with the zipper. Listen, I'm not gonna step on your toes or whatever. Brandon's probably gonna come back in a second. But I just wanted to ask you something. He fumbled out the words, hastily, staring at the floor instead of my face. You like working for Quinn, for Charisse? It's just a job. I'm learning a lot though. Really, I guess. You're in a weird spot. I'm just asking because it kind of felt like we were in the same boat. Newbies caught up in the middle of all this shit, you know. Not just having to do with being a fucking vampire, but a bunch of dumb politics too. He sighed, slipping a hand beneath his groping hood to scratch his hair. I guess I got lucky. I was turned in San Diego a few months ago, not here in LA, so I never had to meet Charisse. I've seen pictures and heard other people talk shit about him. But I'm kind of wondering, I guess, if all the rumors are for real. You shouldn't judge her until you have met her yourself. Yeah, I guess you're probably right, but who knows when that's gonna happen. Jack threw off glumly, dropping his gaze to the ground again. He gave up an obvious insecurity now, unlike our first meeting, maybe because I wasn't just a nameless face to him anymore. There's something different about him than the other Mavvar, even if it's just a small difference. One glance over towards Randall, I noticed he had left the phone and was coming back, a white smoke spreading across his face. But before he could reach me, we're gonna make LA free again, a place where all of us can be equal. Someone's passionate cry abruptly rang out above the hum of voices. Yeah, anyone can say or do whatever the hell they want. But as long as they're not saying Iskar or girls can rule, that is. Ah ha ha. Other voices quickly joined in, and a ripple of energy seemed to run through the room. I say we get rid of all those bastards. Why do we need them? They are the ones ruining LA. Marla, who had been leaning against the wall next to Ziggy, chimed in with a loud snarl. If they heard a single hair About precious little heads, I'm gonna blow this off next time I see them. Cheers and laughter rang out again, and the energy mounted even higher. Hey, I'm not worried. I know we're gonna win. We got Renault and they don't, so those fuckers have already lost. Yeah, you're gonna tap shards, right? I say he should get rid of every one of them. Some of them should just shoot them all.
I want real human moments. I want to see you.
Tell us, Renault. Tell us how it's gonna go down.
I don't want to give that up.
Yeah, tell us. Now everyone was focused on Renault, who had ended up in the center of the room. Someone started chanting his name and soon the whole group joined in. Randall! 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 They obviously wanted him to speak, but for whatever reason, he seemed to hesitate. His eye darting around from face to face. Finally, he raised a hand up, motioning for everyone to be quiet. An anxious, eager silence instantly climbed over the room. If it hadn't been more full of coughs than a mob, I might have been able to hear everyone's breathing. This city is getting ready for a change. His voice fell to a low, husky rumble, but it was so quiet that it seemed to echo around us. All of you know this world attrition can't go on much longer. Every day we move closer to the final night, the night when the lives of Alice's vampires will change forever. We started the fight to bring down showers, but now the girls are part of it too. And their leader is even more full of shit than Queen Bitch is. As Randall, words started to grow louder and more powerful. A ripple of murmurs and growls of agreement spread through the group. They are good girls, good is scary, and we know them when we see them, but the rest, the ones who keep trying to put everyone on leashes, we'll send all those fuckers running for the hills, and we'll take back this goddamn city for ourselves. Yay! We'll take it back. A new chorus of enthusiastic cries sprang up, making the windows rattle, but their cheers sounded a little bit more mute at that part. Was it because of the last thing he had said? We are individuals, not causing some big machine run by these fucking tyrants. They think we don't see what they're doing, they think we don't see their big fucking ego trips. They're backstabbing and all the spineless piece of shit who lick their crumbs off the floor. We're no longer human. And if we don't even answer to Dad himself, why should we answer to some motherfucker trying to beat us into submissions? We won't! We won't! We won't answer to anyone. We'll turn LA into a haven for vampires where everyone plays by their own rules. We'll do what we know is right. Fuck the guilt, the lies, all the piece of shit who will send us to hell for being ourselves. Reynolds' voice rose to a thundering crescendo until he was almost roaring out every word, his eyes burning like two embers inside his skull. We will be the worst enemies of anyone who tries to control their fellow vampires through fear, shame, or pain, through religion, through politics, through dogma, through money, through morals, through differences. Because we won't be oppressed by the fascism of this fucking world any longer. The cheers and shrieks rose to a hysterical, almost deafening intensity. Even after Randall finished his short speech, everyone was so frenzied with excitement that I almost expected them to start tearing things apart. The effect he had on them was mesmerizing. They hung on his every word like it was the gospel. Each Mavvar looked like they would die for him, or maybe they would kill for him. Some of their admiration seemed innocent, but others looked like they lust or pined for them, like he was untouchable despite being right beside them. And as I gazed at Randall's towering figure, I could feel whether they truly believed in him. Because he shone with purpose, just like a superhero. Man, I'm tired. Randall let out a sigh, hands clasping behind his head as he gazed up at the ceiling. We were longing on the sofa in the now empty living room, which seemed bizarrely quiet. After commotion eventually calmed down, the group went off for a ride around the beach, But when they invited Randall, he graciously declined, telling them he wanted to stay behind with me for a bit. But now that we're well alone, Randall didn't seem in any hurry to speak. As the crowd dissipated, he had quickly mellowed out, and the violent energy he had been channeling earlier had all but completely faded. "You okay, kid?" He finally turned towards me, raising a soft question. "You didn't get sick or anything, right, being around so many angry vampires?" "No, it was incredible. You're such a powerful speaker." "Nah, power doesn't come from the guy up on the soapbox or behind the podium or on TV. It comes from the people who believe what he says." He fiddled slightly with his wristbands, gazing at the floor with a far-off look for several moments. "You know, sometimes I just feel kinda, I don't know, uneasy. Not about what we're doing, but about what's gonna happen to, well, Queen Bitch of all people." Randall heaved a long sigh, draping an arm over the back of the couch as he turned to face me more fully. "Now don't get me wrong, I can't stand to fucking look at her. With her stick in the ass, well, her goddamn designer shoes, the way she pierces you all fucking holier than though over her glasses. Ugh. But I don't want to kill sharks. I don't want to kill anyone if I can avoid it." Randall's voice dropped to a deep, gravely murmur. As our eyes met, I saw a strange somberness in his gaze, something that didn't fit his known persona. If I had my way, she would step down peacefully. No one would need to die. And it could be a free city for vampires. And deep down, that's still what I'm hoping for. There's still times for you to work things out with sharks. I wish it was that easy, Midori. I've tried, she has tried. Neither of us really wants this to go on. But our camps are just so far apart, it feels like they're unhappy with any compromise we come up with. We're all just as strong as our groups makes us. If we lose the support, then we're both as good as dead. And the one who would step up to take our place, I'm just gonna say they're a lot more extreme than we are. Randall sounded a little heartbroken despite the faint attempt at humor he forced into his voice. It reminded me of a desolate parent or lover, frustrated out of care and worry, resigned to a certain helplessness. A lot of my clan, they want to see someone's blood get spilled. It's not that they're bad people either. Most of the time, they are great, the best women a guy could ever ask for. Always ready to protect you and love you through whatever it is you're going through. We got every type person different as a rainbow, brought together by what they believe in. It's one of those things that makes you happy just seeing it. But sometimes I feel like they just want destruction. Very briefly, I thought I heard something unusual flicker through Randall's tone, but it was so subtle that I lost it right after. When they get woke up, when everyone's shouting and pissed off, they really believe they are doing the right thing by tearing apart the enemy. I think it comes from a good place, you know. They want to defend the ones they care about. We all do. It's just that they don't understand the blind rage sometimes makes things so much worse